Hey guys, welcome back to BMW Fanatic. In this video, we're going to talk about some very important BMW N54 and N55 maintenance things that you must consider. Now, these things are on the list just because of what people usually do to these cars. They want to modify and they want to do all these things to them. If issues come up and they want to DIY, you got to have the right tools to be able to do that. So let's go ahead and talk about it in this video. Now, walking over to the engine bay, the first thing that's going to come to my mind as far as doing any kind of work on this, as far as maintenance things to remember, is plugs and coils, right? Plugs and coils are very important because they control the whole ignition as far as how your BMW operates. And if you want to throw a tune on and do all that kind of stuff, that has to be on the list, right? And as far as what I always say, maintenance before modifications, that's always going to be the number one thing that you have to do, that you have to think of first. Now, not to worry, I have a DIY on how to change your spark plugs and coil packs on your N54. It can relate to a bunch of other different BMWs because they are very similar. I'm going to drop that video in the description box below. All the tools that you need, all the information that you need, so that way you're set. So the next important piece that we're going to talk about as far as maintenance wise, I'm throwing it in the mix just because it is technically could be a maintenance item, but it's also a modification at the same time. So what I'm talking about is the charge pipe on your N54 or even N55. The weak charge pipe, it's plastic, it's going to break, especially on stock boost, as broke on stock boost. But when you start adding on the tune and all that kind of stuff, you're going to want to have an upgraded charge pipe. Very important to do that. You can do that in tandem with the tune. So if you want to do both of those at the same time, or do the tune first and then do the charge pipe like a week later, whatever be the case, you can do that. It's going to be fine. I did run like 16 PSI on the stock charge pipe. It never broke on me, but of course that's chancing it. So throwing that on the list here. Charge pipe, get it on there. They're not that expensive nowadays, so great maintenance item, because if that breaks, you get a 30 FF code. You can be stranded because you're not going to be able to build any boost. So that one's on the list right there. So I have the CPE charge pipe, which is the long version, goes all the way to the lower intercooler piping. And then it has the Forge Motorsport diverter valves, 15 to 23 PSI springs, vent atmosphere. As you can see, it's capped off. And then that's where you can see on the back to where it is, of course, the whole thing is metal, and then it just clips on with using the C-clip. None of it's plastic, and therefore can handle all the boost that you want. Number 3 is getting a proper BMW scan tool. Now what I use is the Bavarian Technic scan tool, which reads everything that the dealer can read. You can do diagnostic work and all that kind of stuff. That is definitely a key. Now you don't have to physically get that one. You have Carly that can read codes for you, JB4, MHD, or have a coder to do that. I'll link all that details down in the description box below as far as what I use, because I have Bluetooth code reading via the JB4 Connect kit, so I have that. Like I mentioned, Bavarian Technic scan tool, so I have that. And then access to IMPA as far as if you want to read codes. But the gist of it is having those proper diagnostic tools, so that way you can read codes, just so you don't have to take that easy stuff and have someone else read it for you. You want to have it on your back pocket, so that way you can read exactly what's going on there. So number 4 on my list is saving money for those repairs. I save about $2,000 per year just in case, because you never know what can happen on your BMW N54 and N55. Now, I don't spend $2,000 a year. I will be getting to my ownership cost review as far as owning this car almost 5 years. I've been kind of holding off on that just because I'm coming up on that 5-year mark. So we're going to be coming up soon on that, and then I'll do that 5-year ownership. But if I don't use that $2,000 per year, then I just keep holding it and keep building that up. And if I need to buy a modification, then I can just go ahead and do that. And then therefore I've done that on a lot of stuff. But when things come up to where you need injectors or you need stuff like that, you're gonna need that $800 to $1,000 on a bunch of other parts that you may need at the same time for other stuff. So it's best to just save that money, so that way if something happens, you're covered. It's like having an emergency fund for your car. You're gonna wanna have it, especially if you're outside of warranty, right? Which a lot of these cars are, unless you pay the money for an extended warranty through a third-party company. Save the money, that way you can be set there. Last little bit of maintenance as far as on your BMW N54, N55. Review all the TSB recalls that are out there on the car. Superchargers, you have your high pressure fuel pump, you have your injectors, and a bunch of other kind of odds and ends things that are going on with the car. Make sure all that checks out. Outside of the recalls being done, that's one thing. Next step is checking the health of everything on your car, and therefore using that money that you've saved up, like I mentioned about the $2,000, and maybe go ahead and replace some parts that are coming up at that lifespan. A lot of stuff, gaskets leaking, 80,000 miles to 100,000 miles. If you're on like an original water pump, and you're at that time, it's gonna eventually fail on you and you're gonna have to replace it. So you're gonna have to have the money to do that. That does it for today. Smash the like button, comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. See you soon.